And welcome back to the Hot Lap. We are talking Las Vegas qualifying at the time of recording. It has just finished. Quite the surprise. Well done to George Russell. Well done to Max Verstappen. He pulled one out of the bag, but the man, arguably, is Pierre Gasly. So this is your grid. We've got in pole position George Russell, second Carlos Sainz, third. Yeah, I think the biggest surprise, Pierre Gasly, in fourth Leclerc, fifth Verstappen, alongside Lando Norris. That could get a bit tasty, couldn't it? Seventh, well done, Yuki Tsunoda. Eighth, Piastri. Ninth, Hulkenberg. 10th, well, let's be fair, two chances, two balls up for Lewis Hamilton. Potentially the fastest car out. At least we could have had an old Mercedes front row. More on that. 11th, Ocon. 12th, Magnussen. 13th, Zhao. 14th, oh dear. 15th, Lawson. 16th, oh dear. 17th, Alonso. 18th, Albon. Albon, 18th. 19th, and Stroll. Not really his fault. I think he's got to out this time around. And at 20th, Valtteri Bottas is at last, but well done to Zhao as well in 13th. We'll get into that a bit. Here we go. This is Franco Colapinto, hence the oh dear, hitting the wall fairly hard, let's be honest. Out in Q2, that massive hit. This is the last thing that Williams would have wanted, and as you can see here, a bunch of very depressed mechanics. This was obviously red flag. Look at them. All that hard work over the last 3 weeks. James Vowles saying all that hard work that they've done to now. They couldn't afford a crash. That's what happens when you do put a talented, yet he is a rookie, in there. Alex Albon as well, all the way down. Not Williams' best weekend by far. But another bad weekend. Another bad qualifying at the very least for this man, Sergio Perez. This is the 6th time this season that Sergio Perez has been knocked out in Q1. The 6th time. And the sad thing is this appeared, just as he got knocked out with the thumbs down. So, Sergio. I mean, the commentators, they have sympathy for him. At this point, I don't know why. Do I feel sorry for him? No, he's driving a Formula 1 car and he gets paid millions. He's at the moment either two things. One, he's just not fast enough, which is fair enough. Or two, that Red Bull car is completely different to Max Verstappen's. And the reason why Sergio Perez is there, because if they out him, he would do a Nelson Piquet Jr. and tell Max how rubbish his car was. I don't think that's the case. I think it's the latter, the first one. But hey, you never know. Maybe he's going to release some kind of book. But there we go. So let's get into the drivers and what we thought about the drivers for qualifying. So here we are, and let's then remind ourselves who starts last. It's a bit depressing, isn't it? Because it is the man rumoured to be going to Mercedes, Valtteri Bottas. Yeah, not particularly great. Last. Yeah, what's there more to say? Zhao did absolutely amazing. We did say this race could be an interesting one. And Zhao is only 3 points away from what would be Sauber's first ever points. But sadly, Bottas very much is not. But next up, in 19th, we have Daddy's favourite, Lance Stroll. To be fair, they were fixing his car. He only got the one fast lap in. Maybe other better drivers would have got in, maybe. But then when you look at the fact that Fernando Alonso qualified 17th, I don't think they would have done, to be honest. So really sad times for Aston Martin. With obviously Dan Fallows gone from Aston Martin. He's getting a bit desperate now. But Alexander Albon qualified, 18th. Yeah, out-qualified by Colapinto, despite Colapinto, hitting the wall. Not good at all. Not good at all. Very, very sad. So, very, very sad for Alexander Albon. And very, very sad for this man here, Fernando Alonso. What on earth is Aston Martin playing at? Dear me. But next up, we've got this guy here. How is he still employed? I do wonder. As I said, it's one of those two scenarios. 16. At this point, you have to say, is Red Bull one of the worst teams in Formula 1 in respect of the fact that they've had one of the fastest cars throughout the year, and they are very much third in the constructors, and they have a car that can't get out of, and they haven't addressed the issue that is Sergio Perez, along with the whole WhatsApp gate, etc. The PR around that was absolutely terrible. The team is tearing itself apart. It looks embarrassing. And this is embarrassing for Red Bull. And once again, I've always said the bonus. I mean, they should be leading, if not contending, the Constructors' Championship, but they're not. And I just feel sorry for all the guys there. The hard-working people, the ones that get up early in the morning, the mechanics that go, the mechanics that get the cars ready, get the teams ready, get the garage ready, the truck drivers, all because they decided to keep Sergio Perez for some reason and they're not getting their bonus. Yes, shame on you, Red Bull. So, moving on to Liam Lawson. Well, I mean, this is interesting, isn't it? When we look at that, Liam Lawson finally having a bit of a kind of like Brazil. Yeah, where's that early speed gone? Once again, I imagine it is a hard track. It was hard conditions. It was very cold. The track is dusty. Guess we'll give them an out, but let's see what happens in the race, because that car is obviously a lot faster than 15th place. So let's move on to Williams and Colapinto. Wow. Well, kind of like Brazil, he was looking good. He out-qualified Alexander Albon. And then he goes and does that. Is that going to put a stop on, for example, Red Bull wanting him, thinking, God, this guy's crashes a bit too much? Yes, Brazil was wet. Yes, this is tricky. But he's got, assuming he actually starts the race with the rebuild, they've got a lot. They have a lot to do, don't they, Williams? And he's got a lot to do in Qatar and I think Abu Dhabi to convince people. A lot of people are already convinced, but one swallow or two swallows do not make a summer. So he's going to have an absolutely smashing race and smash it through the park in Qatar and Abu Dhabi, I think, to be considered a serious contender for that Red Bull seat. He does have the speed, but talent also means don't crash, sadly. But this guy here, I mean, okay, everyone thinks his F1 career is over. He's been rumoured linked with Ferrari, then denied the fact that he's been linked with Ferrari. But he is doing his CV absolutely no hurt at all by qualifying 13th. An absolute well done, Zhao. The underdog, I think, of qualifying. The unappreciated man of qualifying up in 13th. Absolutely well done. I think this guy here is going to be slightly disappointed to be outside the top 10 for the first time for a while. It's meant to be Kevin Magnussen, but still, I think a solid, well, no, I wouldn't say solid, a mediocre job, let's say, for Kevin Magnussen. And Ergo, bearing in mind where Gasly qualified, I can't help but think Ocon's going to be a bit disappointed. But how fast is that Alpine going to be in the race? That's what I think a lot of people would like to know. I'd like to know, with Gasly all the way up there. But for me, one of the bigger disappointments as well, because I don't really, when it comes to Perez, yeah, okay, whatever. But this guy here, he could have had pole, he could have had at least the front row. He is arguably in at least the fastest car over a lap, as George Russell proved. And he did show he was up there, if not faster than George Russell at times. It was going to be nip and tuck between the two of them. Two mistakes. Yeah, I mean, after that first mistake, he put himself under pressure, and the back end of that Mercedes went again. Is that Hamilton pushing too hard, or is it just the car? I don't know. I think it's, to be fair, it's probably a bit of both. But Lewis Hamilton, not good enough. Let's see what happens during the race. And I think Lewis will also pretty much admit that in the mirror, that he very much was not good enough, because he did get out-qualified by a Haas. He got out-qualified by one of the MVPs of 2024. It's this man here who, going to Audi, once again, proving his worth, is Nico Hülkenberg. Well done, Nico Hülkenberg. But you've got to feel and be disappointed for McLaren. 8th and 6th, Oscar Piastri in 8th. He was looking at times faster than Lando Norris. It just didn't really happen, did it at all? But he was out qualified by this man here. 7th. If he beats Lawson over the next 2 weekends like he has here, how can you not consider him for that Red Bull seat? How can you not? That's the thing. How? That's all I'm saying is, or if Lawson does the same to Tsunoda, we've got two race weekends left, including a sprint race. Lawson needs to put it out. It's going to be really interesting between the two, because I think either one is capable of doing it. So yeah, there we go. So let's look at 6th place, and it's once again, it's one of the McLarens. Massively disappointing. Lando Norris. Yeah, I was kind of sad, really. Not good. I mean, but the interesting thing about it, he is alongside his friend, or let's say frenemies at the moment, friend enemies, And it's going to be really interesting into that first corner. But as everyone would say to me, oh, Lando's not very good at the start. Let's see, shall we? Let's see what Max Verstappen can do. He all the way down in 5th, which I say all the way down. They rumoured to bring the wrong rear wing, but they adjusted the rear wing. And I think Red Bull and Max Verstappen, I think that was about as good as he was going to do. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the race. Who is going to be looking after the tyres? It's going to be all about the tyres, isn't it? And it's this team here who are the most confident with their tyres on their race runs. But bear in mind, he qualified 4th, is Charles Leclerc. He's going to be disappointed for qualifying 4th. Could he win the race? Yes, absolutely he could. We know from Monza how good he can be at looking after those tyres. And I think it's, unless you have an absolutely bizarre safety car at some point during the race, it is going to be all about the tyres. But as we've seen with Colapinto, you can crash. There are crashes here. But this man here, the man of qualifying, I feel, Pierre Gasly, well done. When he got into 3rd, I started to wonder, are Red Bull thinking, why did we get rid of him? He would have been perfect against Verstappen again. But then everyone says, he's never going back to Red Bull. I don't know. But there we go. Well done, Pierre Gasly. I mean, the man that's also staying at Alpine, so that's a really, really nice story. And also the man that's leaving Ferrari is on the front row. Potentially, could he win another race? Is Carlos Sainz? Yes, I think he absolutely could. But he's gonna have to wake up pretty early in the morning to get George Russell. And I think lies the thing. How good is that Mercedes on its tyres? If it's good as the Ferrari, I think the Mercedes could win the race. But I think it's going to be potentially between George Russell and the 2 Ferraris, with maybe the occasional guest star from Verstappen and Norris. And what is Hamilton going to do? Well, he's going to come. I mean, I doubt he's going to finish 10th. He's going to finish a bit further up the order, I'd like to imagine. But it's going to be interesting, isn't it? It's all set for a very exciting Grand Prix. I'm very much looking forward to it. If you are looking forward to it, let us know. Comment below. Let us know. So, subscribe. That would be great. If you could give us a subscribe, we'd really, really, really appreciate that. Thank you very much. You've made it to the end. You are an F1 World Champion in our eyes. If you subscribe, make it to the end, hit that notification button. You are a multiple World Champion in our eyes. Stay safe and speak to you soon. Thank you.